I raised 5 children that weren't mine while my sister collected government checks in sympathy. I sacrificed my marriage, my savings, and 15 years of my life being the responsible one. She announced baby number 6 at my kitchen table like it was a gender reveal party. My husband looked at me and said, "If you take this one, I'm filing for divorce." I looked at my sister and said 7 words that ended everything: "Congratulations. You're on your own this time." She called me a monster in front of my entire family. My name is Rachel. I was 31 when my sister Emma announced her 6th pregnancy, but the story really started when I was 16 and she got pregnant with her first. Emma was 19, living with our parents, working part-time at a gas station, and dating a guy whose idea of commitment was showing up when he felt like it. When she told everyone she was keeping the baby, our mother turned to me at dinner and said, "You're good with kids, Rachel. You'll help, won't you?" I was 16. I didn't know I was allowed to say no. So I helped. I changed diapers during my junior year of high school. I got up for midnight feedings before my SATs. I babysat every weekend while Emma went out with friends because she needed to still have a life. When I graduated and got accepted to a state university 2 hours away, my mother sat me down and explained that Emma was struggling, that the baby needed stability, that family helps family. I commuted for hours a day, 5 days a week, so I could come home and watch my nephew while Emma worked her shifts, and our parents acted like this was normal. Baby number 2 came when I was 19. Different father, same story. Emma was 22 and still figuring things out. I was a sophomore in college, and suddenly I was helping raise 2 kids under 3 while trying to maintain my GPA and work a part-time job to pay for gas and textbooks. Just until she gets on her feet, my mother kept saying. She never got on her feet. Baby number 3 arrived when I was 23. I'd just graduated with my teaching degree and gotten engaged to Marcus, a man I'd been dating for 2 years who was patient and kind and starting to ask questions about why I spent more time at my parents' house than at my own apartment. Emma was 26, living in subsidized housing with her 3 kids, working sporadically, and collecting benefits. The father of baby number 3 lasted about as long as it took for the pregnancy test to dry. "She's your sister," my father said when I suggested maybe Emma needed to figure out her own childcare. Those kids didn't ask to be born into this situation. He was right about that second part. So I kept helping. Marcus and I got married when I was 25. Small wedding, smaller honeymoon, because I had to be back by Monday to watch the kids while Emma went to a job interview that she didn't get. Or didn't go to. I stopped asking because the answer didn't matter. I'd still be the one watching her children either way. Baby number 4 came 10 months after my wedding. Emma was 28. The father was someone she'd met at a bar and dated for 6 weeks. When I suggested adoption or literally any form of birth control, my mother accused me of being judgmental and reminded me that Emma had a big heart and loved being a mother. She loved the idea of being a mother. The actual work got delegated to me. Marcus started making comments. Not mean ones, he wasn't like that. Just observations. "We've been married 2 years and we've never had a weekend to ourselves. Your sister has 4 kids and somehow you're the one who looks exhausted. When are we going to start our own family if you're always raising hers?" I didn't have good answers. I just knew that those kids, my nephews and niece, deserved better than the chaos Emma provided. They deserved homework help and consistent bedtimes and someone who showed up to parent-teacher conferences. Emma gave them happy meals and hugs and a rotating cast of uncles who stuck around until they didn't. Baby number 5 arrived when I was 29. I'd been married 4 years. Marcus and I had been trying for our own baby for 6 months with no success, which my doctor suggested might be stress-related. Emma was 32, unemployed again, and the father of baby number 5 was already gone before the 2nd trimester. I was in the hospital room when that baby was born. Not because Emma needed support, she had our mother for that. I was there because someone needed to take the other 4 kids, and that someone was always me. I stood in that hospital hallway holding a newborn who smelled like Emma's perfume and bad decisions, and I felt something crack inside my chest. Not break. Just crack. Like ice under too much weight. Marcus was waiting in the car. He'd taken the day off work to help me manage all 5 kids. When I got in with the baby, he looked at me for a long moment and then said, very quietly, "This can't keep going, Rachel." I know. Do you? Because every time I think you've hit your limit, she has another baby and you just absorb it. What am I supposed to do? Let those kids suffer because their mother is irresponsible? No. But you're suffering instead. We're suffering. When do we get to have our own life? I didn't answer because I was already doing the mental math of how to fit another car seat in my vehicle and rearranging my work schedule to accommodate Emma's recovery time and trying to figure out how to afford groceries for 7 people on a teacher's salary. That was 2 years ago. For 2 years, I raised 5 children who called me Aunt Rachel but looked to me for everything a mother provides. I made their lunches and signed their permission slips and stayed up with them when they were sick. I taught them to read and helped them with their math homework and braided hair and tied shoes and refereed fights over toys that Emma bought with money she got from the state while I paid for their clothes and school supplies out of my own pocket. Emma would show up on weekends sometimes, full of energy and promises. She'd take them to the park or McDonald's, let them stay up late and eat junk food, be the fun mom for exactly as long as it took for the reality of parenting to become inconvenient. Then she'd drop them back at my house, which had become their house more than hers, and disappear for another week. My marriage was disintegrating. Marcus had stopped asking when we'd have our own kids. He'd stopped asking me on dates. He'd stopped asking much of anything. We lived like roommates who occasionally made eye contact over dinner while 5 children who weren't ours filled every room with noise and need. And then, on a Tuesday afternoon in October, Emma showed up at my house with a smile on her face and a hand on her stomach. I was making after-school snacks. 3 kids were doing homework at my kitchen table. The baby was napping upstairs. The 5-year-old was watching cartoons in the living room. Marcus was at work, where he'd been staying later and later because home had stopped feeling like home. Emma sat down at my kitchen table like she owned the place and said, "I have news." I was cutting apple slices. I didn't look up. "What?" "I'm pregnant." The knife stopped moving. I know the timing isn't perfect, but... The timing isn't perfect? I set the knife down very carefully. "Emma, you have 5 kids." "I know. And I'm so grateful for everything you do to help. You're amazing with them. They're so lucky to have you." "Where's their father?" "Any of their fathers?" She waved a hand. "This one's different. His name is Jason. We've been together for 4 months. He's really excited about being a dad." 4 months. She'd known this man for 4 months and was having his baby while I raised the 5 children she'd already abandoned to my care. "Emma," I said slowly, "you don't take care of the kids you have now." Her face shifted, that familiar expression of wounded innocence she'd perfected over the years. "That's not fair. I'm their mother. I love them. Loving them and raising them are 2 different things. I raise them. You visit. Because you took over. You never gave me a chance to figure it out on my own. You and Mom, you just swooped in and... You left your 3-week-old on my doorstep with a note that said you needed a break. That was baby number 2. You didn't swoop back in. I've been raising your kids for 15 years while you've been figuring it out." The kids at the table had gone quiet. I could feel their eyes on us, and I hated that. Hated that they had to hear this. Hated that they were old enough now to understand what was being said. Emma stood up. "I don't have to listen to this. I came here to share happy news with my sister, and you're attacking me." "I'm not attacking you. I'm asking you a question you've never answered. When are you going to raise your own children?" "I do raise them." You see them on weekends. Sometimes. I have them every single day. I feed them, clothe them, take them to the doctor, help them with homework, put them to bed, get them up, pack their lunches, go to their school events. I do everything. You do Instagram posts about being a blessed mama. Her face flushed red. You know what? Maybe I stayed away because you made it clear you could do it better. Maybe I felt like you didn't want me around. Maybe I... Stop. My voice came out colder than I'd intended. Don't make yourself the victim here. You had 5 children with 5 different men who all left. You have never consistently supported these kids financially or emotionally. I have. And now you're pregnant again, and you're going to expect me to raise this one too. I never asked you to. You didn't have to ask. You just assumed. You knew I'd pick up the pieces because I always do. Because someone has to, and it's never going to be you. She grabbed her purse. I don't need this. I came here to share something beautiful, and you're being cruel. Emma. I stepped closer to her, and something in my voice made her stop. I'm not taking this one. She laughed. Actually laughed. Yes, you will. You always do. No. I won't. I can't. My marriage is falling apart because I've spent 15 years being a mother to your children. I'm exhausted. I'm broke. I'm done. You're not done. You love those kids. I do love them. But that doesn't mean I have to sacrifice everything to enable your irresponsibility. You're having another baby. That's your choice. And you're going to have to figure out how to take care of it. All of them. By yourself. Her eyes narrowed. Mom and Dad will help me. Mom and Dad are in their 60s. They've already raised their kids. They shouldn't have to raise yours too. So you're just going to abandon them? After everything? After they see you as their mother? The words hit exactly where she meant them to. I'm not their mother. You are. And it's time you acted like it. She stared at me for a long moment, and I watched her cycle through emotions, shock, anger, calculation. Then she grabbed her phone. Fine. We'll see what Mom has to say about this. She called our mother right there in my kitchen, on speaker, performing her pain for an audience. Mom, you need to talk to Rachel. She's saying she won't help with the new baby. She's saying horrible things about me being a bad mother. She's trying to take the kids away from me. I heard my mother's sigh through the phone. That deep, tired sigh that meant she was about to choose Emma again. Rachel, what's going on? I told Emma I can't keep raising her children. She's pregnant again, and I can't do this anymore. Can't or won't? Both. Those children depend on you. They need stability. They need their mother. Their actual mother. Not their aunt who's been filling in for 15 years. This is what family does, Rachel. We help each other. Emma has struggled, yes, but she's trying. She needs support, not judgment. I've supported her for 15 years. I've given her every chance. She's not trying, Mom. She's coasting. She has 5 kids she doesn't take care of, and now she's having a 6th. When does it stop? When you stop being selfish, Emma snapped. The kitchen was completely silent. Even the TV in the next room seemed to have gone quiet. I looked at the 3 kids sitting at my table, Emma's kids, who I'd raised, who I'd loved, who were staring at me with wide, uncertain eyes. I want the kids, I said quietly. I want legal custody. If I'm going to keep doing this, I want it to be official. I want to be able to make decisions about their health care and education. I want child support from you and from their fathers. I want this to be a real arrangement, not me just filling in whenever it's convenient for you. Emma's face went white. You want to take my kids? I want you to acknowledge that I've been raising them. I want the legal system to reflect reality. If you want to be their mother, then be their mother. Take them home. All 5 of them. Tonight. And figure out how you're going to manage 6. I don't have room for all of them right now. My apartment is small. I know. Because you have a 2-bedroom apartment for 5 kids. I have a 4-bedroom house because I'm the one who actually houses them. This is insane. Mom, tell her she's being insane. My mother's voice came through the phone, sharp and cold. Rachel, you're upsetting everyone. This isn't how we handle things in this family. Then how do we handle it, Mom? Because the way we've been handling it for 15 years isn't working. Not for me. Not for my marriage. Not for these kids who don't know if they're coming or going. We'll talk about this later. When you've calmed down. I am calm. This is me calm. This is me finally saying what I should have said 15 years ago. I'm not doing this anymore. I hung up the phone. Emma stared at me like I'd grown a second head. You're going to regret this. Maybe. But I'll regret it as someone who still has a marriage and a life. The kids will hate you. I looked at the 3 children at my table. The oldest was 12. Old enough to understand more than I wished she had to. I love you guys, I said to them. Nothing about that changes. But things are going to be different now. Your mom is going to step up. She's going to figure out how to take care of you the way you deserve. The 12-year-old, Emma's oldest, looked at me with eyes too knowing for her age. She won't, though. Then I'll help. But not like before. Not by doing everything while she does nothing. Emma grabbed her keys. You're going to hear from my lawyer. You can't just decide to take someone's kids. I'm not taking them. I'm offering to raise them officially, with support, with legal recognition of what I've already been doing. Or you can raise them yourself. Those are the options. She left. Slammed the door hard enough that the baby woke up crying upstairs. I stood in my kitchen, listening to the baby cry and the kids whisper to each other and my own heart pound in my ears, and thought, I just blew up my entire family. Marcus came home 2 hours later. The kids were fed and bathed and quiet in their rooms, quieter than usual. They could feel the shift, the way children always can. I was sitting on the couch when he walked in. He took one look at my face and sat down next to me. What happened? I told him. Everything. Emma's pregnancy announcement, the argument, the ultimatum, the phone call, all of it. When I finished, he was quiet for a long time. Then he took my hand, the first time he'd voluntarily touched me in weeks, and said, I'm proud of you. I started crying. Just completely fell apart right there on the couch, and he held me while I sobbed up 15 years of exhaustion and resentment and fear. What if I made a mistake? I whispered. What if she can't handle them? What if the kids suffer because I stopped helping? The kids are already suffering. They have a mother who doesn't show up and an aunt who's drowning trying to be everything to everyone. Something had to change. My parents are going to side with her. They always do. Then that's their choice. But you finally made yours. My mother showed up the next morning. I was getting the kids ready for school, a routine so ingrained I could do it in my sleep. Lunches packed, backpacks by the door, the baby in a high chair smearing oatmeal on every available surface. She didn't knock. She had a key from years ago when I'd given it to her for emergencies. She walked into my kitchen like she was conducting an intervention. We need to talk about yesterday, she said. I handed the 12-year-old her lunch. Kids, go brush your teeth. They scattered. They knew that tone. My mother sat down at the table. You embarrassed your sister. You made her feel like a failure in front of her own children. She is a failure. As a parent. Not as a person, as a parent. And those kids know it already. I didn't tell them anything they haven't lived. That's cruel, Rachel. What's cruel is having 6 children you have no intention of raising. What's cruel is expecting your sister to sacrifice her entire life so you don't have to face consequences. What's cruel is calling me selfish for finally setting a boundary. Emma is overwhelmed. She's always struggled with responsibility, with follow-through, with putting anyone's needs ahead of her own. I know. I've been compensating for it since I was 16. My mother's face tightened. You act like we forced this on you. You volunteered. You always said you were happy to help. I was 16. I didn't know I was allowed to say no. And every time I tried, you made me feel guilty. Family helps family. Those kids need you. Emma's doing her best. Well, her best isn't good enough, and I'm done pretending it is. So what's your plan? You take the kids and Emma gets nothing? You become their mother and she's just erased? My plan is that Emma takes her children home and raises them. If she can't, if she won't, then yes, I want legal custody. I want the authority to make decisions for kids I'm already making decisions for. I want child support. I want this arrangement to reflect reality. You want to punish her. I want to stop enabling her. There's a difference. My mother stood up. If you do this, if you actually file for custody, you'll destroy this family. This family destroyed itself a long time ago. I've just been too busy holding it together to notice. She left without saying goodbye to the kids. Emma's lawyer called 3 days later. Or rather, a paralegal from a legal aid office called to inform me that Emma was contesting any custody arrangement and demanding that I return her children immediately. My lawyer, Marcus, had insisted we get one, had paid the retainer from his own account, listened to the message and made a call. Within a week, we had a court date. Emma showed up to court with our parents and a lawyer who looked fresh out of law school. I showed up with Marcus, 15 years of documentation, and a folder full of receipts. School registration forms I'd signed. Medical records listing me as the emergency contact. Credit card statements showing purchases of clothes, food, school supplies, birthday presents, Christmas gifts. Text messages from Emma, "Can you keep them this weekend? Can you pick them up? I need a break." Something came up. The judge was a woman in her 50s with reading glasses and an expression that suggested she'd seen every version of this story. Emma's lawyer argued that I'd overstepped, that I'd inserted myself into Emma's parenting without her consent, that she was a devoted mother who'd been undermined by a controlling sister. My lawyer presented the receipts. The school records. The testimony from teachers who'd only ever seen me at parent conferences. The pediatrician who'd only ever dealt with me regarding the children's health care. The judge looked at Emma. "Ms. Winters, how many of your children live with you currently?" Emma shifted in her seat. "They stay with my sister during the week because I work evenings and..." "How many nights per week do your children sleep in your home?" Silence. "Ms. Winters?" "It varies. Sometimes weekends. Sometimes they stay with Rachel if I have a shift or..." "On average, over the past year, how many nights per week have your 5 children slept under your roof?" Emma looked at her lawyer. Her lawyer looked at his notes. Neither of them had a good answer because the answer was almost none. "Your Honor," Emma's lawyer interjected, "my client has struggled with postpartum depression and economic hardship. Her sister offered to help, and my client accepted that help gratefully. That doesn't mean she's forfeited her parental rights." "No," the judge agreed. But it does raise questions about the current custody arrangement and what's in the best interest of these children. She looked at me. Ms. Hayes, what are you requesting? Primary physical custody of all 5 children. Legal decision-making authority regarding education and health care. Child support from their mother and, where possible, from their fathers. And you're prepared to continue caring for these children full-time? I've been doing it for 15 years, Your Honor. I'd just like it to be official. The judge was quiet for a long moment, reading through documents. Then she looked at Emma again. Ms. Winters, are you currently employed? I'm between jobs right now, but... Do you have stable housing that can accommodate 5 children? I'm looking for a bigger place. Are you pregnant with your 6th child? Emma's face flushed. Yes, but that doesn't mean... The judge held up a hand. I'm going to order a home study for both residences. I'm appointing a guardian ad litem to interview the children and assess their wishes and best interests. We'll reconvene in 60 days with those reports in hand. She looked at both of us, Emma and me. In the meantime, the current arrangement continues. The children remain primarily with Ms. Hayes. Ms. Winters will have supervised visitation weekly. Supervised? Emma's voice cracked. They're my kids. Why do I need supervision? Because, Ms. Winters, you've just admitted under oath that you don't currently have adequate housing for them, you're unemployed, and you're pregnant with another child while 5 children are being raised by someone else. Until I have evidence that you can provide a stable environment, visitation will be supervised. Emma started crying. My mother reached over and took her hand. My father looked at me like I'd personally betrayed him. The guardian ad litem was a woman named Patricia who interviewed each child separately. She spent 2 hours at my house, observing routines, asking questions, taking notes. Then she spent an hour at Emma's apartment. Her report came back 4 weeks later. All 5 children, when asked where they wanted to live, said my house. The 12-year-old said, Aunt Rachel is the only parent we've ever really had. The 9-year-old said, Mom is nice when she visits, but Rachel takes care of us. The 7-year-old said, I don't want to leave. This is my home. Patricia's professional recommendation, grant primary custody to me. Establish a visitation schedule for Emma. Require parenting classes and proof of stable employment and housing before considering expanded custody. The judge read the report. Looked at Emma. Looked at me. Ms. Winters, I'm granting primary physical and legal custody of all 5 minor children to Ms. Rachel Hayes. You'll have supervised visitation every other weekend, with the possibility of expansion upon completion of parenting classes and demonstration of stable housing and employment. You'll be required to pay child support in the amount of... I can't afford child support. I don't have a job. Then I suggest you find one. This hearing is adjourned. The gavel came down. Emma's face crumpled. My mother put her arm around her, glaring at me with pure venom. My father wouldn't even look in my direction. Marcus squeezed my hand. Outside the courtroom, my mother caught up with me. I hope you're happy. You got what you wanted. You took her children. I didn't take anything. I just stopped pretending she was raising them. She'll never forgive you for this. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm asking for honesty. And if she can't give me that, then we don't have anything to forgive. That was 8 months ago. Emma had her 6th baby 3 months after the custody hearing. A boy. She posts pictures on Facebook sometimes, the baby in cute outfits, captions about blessed motherhood, hashtags about being strong. She's never completed the parenting classes. She's missed half of her scheduled visitations. When she does show up, she stays for an hour, takes pictures with the kids for social media, and leaves. The older kids have stopped asking when she's coming. The littlest ones barely remember living anywhere but here. My parents see the children on holidays. Strained, formal visits where nobody mentions the court case or Emma or the fact that I'm now legally their mother. They bring elaborate gifts and take pictures and leave quickly. I don't chase their approval anymore. I don't explain myself. I don't justify my choices. Marcus and I are trying for our own baby again. The stress has lifted enough that it feels possible now. The house is chaotic and loud and expensive and exhausting, but it's ours. We're a family, imperfect and complicated and real. Last week, the 12-year-old, who's 13 now, asked if she could call me Mom instead of Rachel. I said yes. She hugged me and whispered, "You've always been my mom anyway." I think about Emma sometimes. I wonder if she regrets her choices, if she lies awake at night missing her children, if she's figured out yet that you can't Instagram your way into being a parent. But mostly, I don't think about her at all. I think about the kids who are thriving now. Who have consistent bedtimes and healthy meals and someone who shows up to every school event. Who are learning that love isn't just a feeling, it's a commitment. It's showing up even when it's hard. It's putting someone else's needs ahead of your own comfort. Emma taught them what abandonment looks like. I'm teaching them what stability feels like. My mother was wrong. I didn't destroy the family. I saved the part of it that was worth saving. Some people will call me cruel for what I did. For drawing a line. For refusing to enable my sister's pattern of creating children she had no intention of raising. But the kids don't call me cruel. They call me Mom. And at the end of the day, they're the only ones whose opinion matters. Emma wanted sympathy. She wanted people to admire her resilience, her big heart, her journey through motherhood. What she didn't want was responsibility. So I took it. Not out of spite, but out of love for 5 children who deserved better than being afterthoughts in their own mother's life. The revenge wasn't in taking her kids away. The revenge was in refusing to give her the credit for raising them. She lost access not because I'm vindictive, but because she never showed up in the first place. And when the court looked at 15 years of evidence, it was undeniable, I wasn't stealing her children. I was just finally admitting I'd been their mother all along. Sometimes the quietest revenge is just telling the truth and refusing to be complicit in the lie anymore. Emma can have as many babies as she wants now. She can post about them, hashtag them, dress them up for photos. But she'll raise them herself. Because I'm done being the backup plan for someone who's never learned that children aren't accessories, they're human beings who deserve parents who stay. And I'm staying. Not for Emma. Not for my parents. Not even for revenge. I'm staying for the 5 kids who finally, legally, permanently have the mother they've always deserved. The one who chose them every single day. The one who didn't just give birth to them, but showed up for them. Me.